Guys, I'm going to talk to you today about this graph. So, in my interpretations, my name is Steph. I work for MyStar. I'm a scientist and science curriculum developer. The first thing I notice in this graph is the title. It says distribution of blood types in the 5 most populous countries. So, I'm thinking to myself that this graph is going to be about different blood types, how much of different blood types in different countries. The second thing I notice is the question above, what blood type is the most common? So that helps me to understand. We're just thinking about what blood type is the most common in each country. The next thing I notice is these letters below. At first, I'm not sure what these are, but I'm thinking that I know from my family, I have an uncle who used to work at a blood bank. I know that AB, B, A, and O are blood types. So I'm connecting in my head. I think these are definitely the blood types that we're going to be looking at. And they're going to have these different shades of color in the graph. The next thing I'm noticing, well, there's just a lot of bars here. I'm going to worry about that in a second. The next thing I notice is on the axes. So y-axis is percentage of people, and that goes from 0 to 100 in increments of 25. So that's helpful. And then on the x-axis, I'm noticing that's country. There's China, India, United States, Indonesia, and Pakistan. So then getting into the graphs themselves, this looks a little bit muddier to me. So I'm going to break it down a little. So for O blood type, that's this light gray color here. That's the first one that's stacked. I noticed that most of the countries are pretty similar in height, but the United States is actually a bit taller. That tells me there's higher percentage of people in the United States with O blood type compared to the other countries. Next, I'm going to look at A. So I'm seeing here that actually similarly, the United States has more people with A blood type than the other countries than in China or India, Indonesia, and Pakistan. I'm also noticing that the box for China and the box for Indonesia is about the same thickness. And likewise, the box for India, the box for Pakistan is about the same thickness. So noticing that there's kind of those two pairs of countries that have almost like it looks the exact same percent of people with A blood type. So there must be some similarity between those countries for some reason. Next is the B blood type. And I'm noticing this one's a little different. The big thing that jumps out at me is that the United States has way less of B blood type percentage-wise than the other countries. That's a huge thing to me that I notice here. I also do notice actually the same pattern. So China and Indonesia have very same box size, and then India and Pakistan also have the very same box size. So I think again that those countries are like paired, especially in terms of what percent of B and A that those countries have. So that's interesting, and I'm wondering, why is that? And then the last blood type is AB. I think my dad has this blood type. And again, well, obviously I noticed real quick because these boxes are dark, so it's easy to see. I noticed that these boxes are all a lot smaller and shorter. And so I'm noticing that they're pretty similar in like height for the 4 countries, except for the US, which is even smaller. So what I'm taking away from this is that in the US, the AB blood type is the smallest percentage of blood type. And like it's actually a much smaller percentage, like half the percent of the other 4 countries, it looks to me based on this box height. But I'm also noticing that it's also a really small percent in all the other 4 countries in China, India, Indonesia, and Pakistan. And the boxes all look pretty similar in height for those 4 countries. Indonesia's box is like a little bit smaller, maybe. So those are all really interesting patterns to notice. I didn't know this about blood type. I didn't realize that O and A were so much more common in the United States compared to other countries. Although looking at it, obviously they're very common in all 5 of these countries too. And I also didn't realize that B blood type was so much less common in the US compared to these other 4 countries. I didn't know that. AB also, I didn't realize that was so uncommon in any of these 5 countries. So I learned a lot from this. Thanks for watching.